and welcome to another video of Mariana in Yucatan YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe because we will be updating and uploading different content regarding immigration, moving to Mexico, real estate in Mexico, all that good stuff. In this video today, we will talk about something very important, which is I want to move to Mexico. Where do I start? I've talked about this topic in various different occasions, but I think it's one of the most important things. There's a lot of planning involved when you want to move to another country, and it's normal to get stressed out. But my suggestion as an immigration attorney is always to make sure that the residency side, so the way I can stay in the country legally, is the first thing you investigate. Normally with the clients that we have a consulting first with, we analyze their case, ask them a few questions, their goals, etc. And with that, we create a strategy that will help them be able to reside in Mexico legally, do the activities that they want to do in Mexico, and as well bring family members along with them, amongst other things. But now, going to the subject of the video. What type of residency or visa am I eligible to? Should I get, and is the best one for me? Well, the first thing you need to know is that most process for residency in Mexico will start back at a Mexican consulate near your house. If you live, for example, in the United States, there are states like California which have 3 consulates, which their circumscription or like the area that they take care of well depends on the consulate. If you live in other states like Miami, you have 2, and other states just have 1. If you live in, for example, Europe, you might find only 1 Mexican consulate or embassy in your country, and that is where you need to go to do the visa process. Typically speaking, when people move to Mexico, they either get a temporary resident visa or a permanent resident visa. What are the ways that these two are similar? Well, they both allow you to open up a bank account in Mexico. They allow you to purchase a vehicle and put it under your legal name for you to be the owner of the vehicle. They also allow you to stay in Mexico long term, maybe even work in Mexico, do work activities, and most importantly, bring your family members with you, as because of Mexico to Mexico family unit is very, very important. But how do I know what I'm eligible to? Well, the first thing you need to do is go to the consulate page and make sure to check the financial solvency. There are 2 options that the consulate gives you for financial solvency. One is proving it through work, and the other one is proving it through savings or investments. For example, for temporary resident visa, typically you will need to provide proof that you are working for a company or an employer that pays you this year, 2025, at least $4,100 or $4,100 US for the past 6 months. If you're not working or prefer to show investments or savings, you need to provide the amount of at least 69,000 or 69K as an ending balance for the past 12 months in either investments or savings. Now, something that everybody tells you, and here's a little tip, is that if you're providing monthly, so a monthly income, you need to make sure that you can get a letter from your employer or to prove to the consulate that you will keep being paid in Mexico. Now, some clients ask us, why did these amounts change from consulate to consulate? Where the answer is simple. The amounts that the consulates have in their websites depend on some laws, articles, and regulations that we have in our Mexican laws. In our Mexican law, we don't have the amount, of course, in dollars, euros, and neither in pesos. We actually have a rule where we have to multiply certain days with, it used to be, and this is how we're using it now, the minimum daily wage in Mexico. By doing this multiplication, we would get the amount in pesos, and that every consulate multiplies this according to the exchange rate, and then gets their own amounts. One of the big changes this year is that just about a month ago, we actually got a new regulation updating actually a regulation we had regarding this multiplication. So before, this depended on the minimum daily wage in Mexico, which of course we hope and we like that it goes up every year substantially, which made a lot of people become less and less eligible for residency. Now, with the change, we're gonna use something called an UMA, which is a unit of measurement and updating. That's how I would translate it. And it shifts daily, but it doesn't go up so substantially as the minimum daily wage. Now, the permanent resident visa asks you to provide more of an income. So you can provide a pension or an income of about 6,800 approximately US dollars, or provide that you have savings or investment in the amount of 273K approximately. Something also not everybody tells you is that the permanent resident visa is typically for people that have either children that were born in Mexico, or Mexicans, or people who are receiving a pension or retired. The next type of visa is a tourist visa. Now, depending on what country you're coming from, you might need to get this visa or not. So for example, US citizens, Europeans typically don't need, as of now, a visa to enter Mexico as a tourist. They only need a valid passport and to show the intention of travel at the port of entry, so at the airport. But other countries like Venezuela and some countries also in Asia might need to show this Mexican visa. So it's important to double check with your consulate if this process can be done with them. And also you need to provide some amounts showing that you have the economy to be able to do this travel for visiting purposes. Once you go to your appointment at the consulate and you get your visa approved, it's very important that for the case of temporary and permanent, you have to come to Mexico in less than 6 months to be able to exchange your current visa to an actual residency card, which will mark your first day as a full Mexican resident. In our other videos, our next videos, we will talk about some obligations that you have as a resident, renewals, family unit, and much more. So if you're looking to invest, buying a property in Mexico, moving to Mexico, or just have general questions about doing it legally, make sure to subscribe and follow us for the next video.